Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the first of two prediction shows. Again, they're coming thick and fast for Riyadh season this week. Myself, JFT, and Liam back in the game. We've got Mr. ChillTownBoxing down below joining us from the States today. How are we, guys? You well?
Good, man.
Doing well. Thanks.
Yeah, all good.
Freezing here.
Join the club, man.
Don't talk to us about that.
Horrible.
Boys, this fight for me, Israil Madrimov and Vergil Ortiz. I know we spoke about it on the podcast last night. I'm sure Chilltown, you'll back us up on this. It's probably the front runner for fight of the night on Saturday. It's probably the safest play to be fight of the night. It might not be fight of the night. Obviously, we'll see how things play out. But if you put it this way, if I had to pick one now, I think I would say Vergil Ortiz and Israil Madrimov will be fight of the night. You agree with that?
Yeah, most intriguing for me since the fight was announced. This is the most intriguing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've picked it as my fight of the night. It's the fight I'm most excited for because I think it's evenly matched. It's one of my only picks to go the distance. I think he's I know people are favouring Ortiz because of his supposed knockout power and his aggressive style. I just think Madrimov, what we saw when he boxed Terence Crawford, I know Terence was at a new weight and was carrying extra weight, etc. But Madrimov did really well in that fight. And you know, for me, I think that Ortiz is going to struggle with him. I just think he's not going to be able to move him around. I think Madrimov will stand straight in front of him. He'll go punch for punch with him. And for me, I think it's going to be one of the most evenly contested fights. I think it's going to go the distance. And it's one, as you said, Mr. Chilltown, it's an intriguing matchup, man.
Yeah, definitely. I'll come to you next, Chilltown. What's your thoughts of the matchup? First of all, obviously from a US perspective, Vergil Ortiz is coming in 22-0. Obviously, the only time he's gone the distance last time against Bohachuk. We know how good he is. We saw him beat Ish Davis, one of our own, in Riyadh last time on the Usyk Fury rematch. Pressure on Vergil Ortiz to deliver on Saturday?
Yeah, there was pressure. I thought there was a lot of pressure with the Bohachuk because that was his legitimate real fight at 154 against a legitimate top 10 154 pounder. So it kind of stamped that he belonged. I tried to play devil's advocate with both of these guys because it's such a close fight. Like Vergil is really new to 154. He was coming up from welterweight. And you got Madrimov, who's big. He's stocky. He's a big 154 pounder, and he's proven he's fought as high as 160. So, I mean, you got advantages in both. Vergil's a little younger, maybe a little fresher. But, I mean, just stylistically, the clash is just like, it's a lot of fun for me to break down because it's such a clash of styles. They're both in their prime, and they're both coming off both close fights, no matter how you scored them, because I would say they're both somewhat controversial. But we both know they're both great opponents and they're coming off great performances.
Yeah, most definitely. Liam?
Yeah, look, Chilltown's just said it there, and we said it ourselves last night, that this is definitely a fascinating matchup. It's the young kid on the block that seems to have found his home. Now he's at 154. He doesn't have to weight issues anymore. He's not killing himself in the lead up to fight night, trying to boil his frame down. And you got Madrimov, who, look, shot onto the scene when he won the world title on the AJ Ngannou card last year. Got the golden ticket with Terence Crawford, and bar from maybe starting a bit slowly in the first 4 or 5 rounds, was pretty close to possibly getting a decision. Look, I don't buy the Eddie Hearn narrative of it was a robbery, as I said last night, but that was a very close fight, and he gave Crawford probably his toughest night in many a year, if you look at it. He had harder work against Madrimov than he did against Errol Spence when he unified down at 147. I'm in a similar school of thought to Jay. I just think Madrimov has a relentless come-forward style all night long. Vergil Ortiz likes to pick his shots. He likes to sit on the back foot and work in bursts. If he chooses to fight like that on Saturday night, Madrimov will push him all night long. He'll push him up against the ropes. He'll keep going with his hands. And because he's the much bigger man in there naturally, that's something we haven't seen Ortiz have to deal with before. How will he deal with a bigger man leaning on him, letting his punches go and doing everything he can to stop Ortiz getting into his rhythm? If Vergil gets into his rhythm in the first 3 rounds, Madrimov is in for a long night, just like he was against Crawford. But if Madrimov can set his stall out early, then the questions will be with Vergil Ortiz. What's he going to change from how he's seen him fight in the past? Can he come forward on the front foot and be more of an aggressive fighter rather than a pot shotter on the back foot? Those are the questions I think will get answered in this fight.
Yeah, definitely. We've got Ryan Hongs here. Thanks for joining us as always, Ryan. Value bets for the fight. Madrimov to score a knockdown plus 175. Vergil Ortiz to be knocked down and win plus 900. Bit of value in the Ortiz one there for sure. These two seem to be tied in with Boachuk now. It's kind of like there's a little triangle going on, isn't there? Madrimov was meant to fight Boachuk, but Madrimov fell ill, didn't he? And then he was meant to fight Ortiz and Boachuk within 8 weeks. So I was always skeptical that was ever going to happen. But anyway, we're here at where we are now. Boys, we may as well get into the prediction side of things. Crazy to think this is only Madrimov's 13th fight as a professional. He's got the loss to Crawford. Very close fight. I think I scored that 7-5 to Crawford in the end. He's got a draw on his record as well, probably when he was a little bit newer to the pros. But he's had an extensive amateur career. He's one of the school of the Uzbeki amateurs. You know, you've got Jalalov, who's going to make a lot of noise at heavyweight very soon. I'm convinced that he's going to be world champion at some point, double Olympic gold medalists. You know, I think MJ Medaliev's another one. There's loads of the fighters from Uzbekistan coming through. Who wants to kick off with their official pick for Ortiz Jr. Madrimov?
I'll give my pick. I know we mentioned Boachuk, and I don't agree with Team Crawford coming out today saying that Boachuk's shit and trash was the comment. Because that's just disrespectful.
Nah, it's legit, Boachuk.
He's legit. I'll go ahead and give you my pick. I've gone for Madrimov to eke out a decision win. I think that Vergil Ortiz is going to win the first couple of rounds. I think Madrimov will find his rhythm. I think Vergil Ortiz will start to slow towards the middle rounds, and I think that's where Madrimov will get possibly a 10-8, but I think he'll pull away. I think it'll be close, 7-5. You know, 1-1-5, 1-1-3, something like that. But I just think Madrimov, going off what Liam said, being a naturally bigger guy, will just be able to navigate his way around and have his way with Ortiz. When Ortiz is in close, he likes to get hold of them, pivot left or right, but he turns them with him. He's not going to be able to do that with Madrimov. Madrimov will set his feet and he's going to be too big for him. I don't mean like the miles apart, because obviously they're both in the same weight division, but Madrimov's naturally the bigger man. So Vergil Ortiz is not going to be able to throw him around like he ordinarily does and boss him around. He'll have to outbox him, and I don't think he can do that for 12 full.
Do you think we can read anything into the fact Vergil has knocked every one of his opponents out of 140 and 147? Granted, he's only had one fight, Chilltown, at 154, and it was against a tough Boachuk. But do you think it's coincidental that his only one knockout didn't come up at 154? You know, I'm not saying, you know, Teofimo comes to mind me when he moved up to 140. I don't feel like his power he wasn't knocking people, you know, out like he was Richard Comey and people like that at 135. Do you think there's a potential that he's not as powerful at 154?
I mean, I think it's a combination of a couple of things. One, he doesn't have one punch knockout power. He's the type of guy that's going to knock you out with the second or third or fourth shot, right? He's a volume puncher. He wears you down. And two, Boachuk was wobbled. I thought he was hurt a few times in that fight. So I think that still remains to be seen. I think that was two styles that were very similar, that believed in their power and believed in their chins. And they showed that night, Boachuk and Vergil Ortiz. This is the problem I'm having. So I'm going back and forth with this, right? I got Vergil Ortiz, who gets hit a lot. Not just in the Boachuk fight. He got hit a lot. Mean Machine, he got hit a lot. Maurice Hooker. That's his style, though. When you let your hands go that much, you're going to get hit. But he's okay with that. He believes in his chin. He believes in his power. That's how he wins fight. I'll take a shot to give a shot. And that's him, essentially. Now, with Madrimov, this is my problem, and I can't get this out of my head. He was the champion against Bud Crawford. Don't forget, Bud Crawford started at 135. He was not big at 154. I love Bud, but that's his ceiling. 154 is his ceiling. Now, the later rounds, specifically the championship rounds, we knew it was a close fight. I thought Madrimov let off the gas. You're the champion. This is your biggest moment. You weren't throwing shots with Bud. I thought Bud was stealing those championship rounds. Yeah. If you're not going to do it then against Bud, when are you going to do it? Because Vergil's not going to let you breathe. So stylistically, I think this is going to come down to, and I'll say this all day long, Madrimov is more skilled here. And I said this before. David Morrell, David Benavidez. David Morrell's more skilled. But skills don't always pay the bills. I think there's a will in this, and I think the style of Vergil Ortiz, similar to David Benavidez, It's like that snowball effect. He's going downhill. He's getting momentum. He's not gonna let off the gas. He's gonna keep pressing you. Is Madrimov ready for that?
It's a good comparison.
Is Madrimov ready for that type of fight? Because Vergil is. We know that with Vergil. Madrimov didn't seem to dig down deep against Bud. In that you got to go off your last performance. Vergil showed me a lot. He was hurt, but he didn't go down. He didn't stop. He didn't stop against Bochuk, right? He kept chucking. So I think when it's gonna come down to the wire, I'm leaning Vergil here. I don't know how. He could hurt him. It could go to points, but I got a feeling Vergil might sneak this one out.
Okay.
Damn, it just changed my mind.
I know. I'm all in on Ortiz now. I'm all there for Ortiz.
Look, it's a fascinating matchup, and you talk about Madrimov not having a lot of pro experience. I mean, he had the best part of 100 fights as an amateur, so that does count for something, regardless of what people think of amateur and pro boxing. And that draw, mate, was stopped in a cut for his opponent in the second round. So again, you can't. It's not like he's got away with a draw. That was his Matchroom UK debut, I think that was. So Madrimov has done realistically everything asked of him until he stepped in with what we were talking about, one of the best of this era across all divisions in Bud Crawford. I do agree with what ChillTown's just said. He didn't do enough as the champion to show that he was the champion that night. He started too slow and he finished allowing Crawford to nick rounds. What he done in the middle part of the fight was fantastic. What we need to see on Saturday night is a performance from the first bell, and I believe he'll deliver. Look, he knows that he's probably on his last legs in terms of staying on a turkey card. He's had 3 in a row now. He's had the one where he picks up the world title. We had the one in LA, and now he's got this. It's kind of winner stays on scenario for Madrimov here, and he needs to produce his best performance. His career, he's 30 years of age, so you can't say he's got age on his side. He needs to start delivering performances. Matchroom will put pressure on him as well. I think it's just a gut test too soon for Vergil Ortiz. I'm impressed with how talented the kid is. He's done everything he's needed to do so far, but is he going to be able to answer a gut test that I think Madrimov will deliver to him on Saturday night? He can come back again from this, Vergil Ortiz. I just think it's a test too soon. So Madrimov on points for me. I agree with Jay. 8-4, 7-5. I don't think it will be a landslide. It will be a competitive enough fight, but Madrimov just to have enough to edge it.
Yeah, well, one thing I'll say I'll give my pick now. I'll just go through a few of the comments. Evening, Pat. Thanks for joining us as always. Madrimov on UD, not a doubt for me. Madrimov turns on, he'll take Ortiz. Madrimov too dynamic for Ortiz, Ryan says. Jacob Holtz here. Not too sure what that says, but thanks for joining us, Jacob. Big Supreme, Madrimov money line, almost plus money. A lot of Madrimov picks coming in here. Look, one thing I'll say about Vergil Ortiz Jr., just to get my pick going, he is about it. You know, he's just fought Boachuk he went life and death with Boachuk. He snuck through. I thought he edged it, but I could have easily saw it going to Boachuk as well. He dropped Ortiz twice. Yes, there were flash knockdowns. He wasn't massively buzzed. Thought Ortiz rallied really strong down the stretch to get that one in the end. But he could have probably taken a different route, but he's gone straight into an Israil Madrimov fight after that. You know, credit where it's due to Vergil Ortiz, in my opinion. Look, you should never defend an interim belt, I don't think either. So Fundora's facing... Look, I'd have to box rec to see who Fundora's facing soon.
Shordell Booker, he's not good.
Booker, that's the one. Yeah, he's like it should have been a Vergil Ortiz, Sebastian Fundora, but he's with PBC. I get that they're not doing Riyadh season cards. Jacob said was put down twice against Boachuk, coming out on top. Yeah. So Jacob's gone Ortiz. Look, I'm picking Madrimov as well. I'm picking him via a decision. I'm with you guys. There's not much basis in my pick, to be honest with you. I've got no technical breakdown for it. I think it's going to be blood, guts. I think it's going to be it can't not deliver this fight. I'm telling you here and now. But I think Israil Madrimov's skill might just carry him through. But Vergil Ortiz Jr. is game, and I think he's gamer. I agree with ChillTown. I think he's gamer than Madrimov as well. I think if it comes down to who wants it more, that could lean towards Vergil Ortiz. Will with Ortiz, skill with Madrimov, in my opinion, for this one.
Just add one last thing.
Plus 1,400.
Draw's a great shot there. I think the rounds are going to be tough to split, but Boachuk then went on to go face Ishmael Davis, which ended up icing him. That was a fantastic win. I think that win aged pretty well for Ortiz.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Oh, it definitely did. Yeah, but Boachuk's a big player at 154. He's a tough night to work for any of the top fighters at 154 for sure.
Exactly.
So we've gone 3-1 to Madrimov on this one, but all four of us, we know it's going to be close, and all the predictions we've done so far, all of us have caveated our picks with, yeah, but the other guy could do this. It's that good a card. It's been brilliant. Massive thanks to ChillTownBoxing for joining myself, Jane, Liam. Cheers to the two of you as always. But don't worry, we're back in a minute. The four of us are going to cover Zhilei Zhang versus Ajit Kabiel for another WBC Interim Championship. This time it's at heavyweight. Thanks to Jacob, Big Supreme, Ryan, and Pat for the interaction. See you in a couple of minutes for the heavyweights.